They cut through their tent from the inside and ran barefoot into negative 30 degrees. 9 expert mountaineers. Into a blizzard, wearing underwear. Some were found with crushed ribs, like being hit by a car, but no external wounds. One woman missing her tongue and eyes. The Soviet government investigated for months. Their conclusion? Death by unknown compelling force. February 1959. This is Dyatlov Pass, and I'm going to prove to you the Soviet military knew exactly what killed them and covered it up for 65 years. Here's the pattern you need to see, because after 4 cases, it's becoming undeniable. Day 1. Man from Taured insists the maps are wrong. Reality is wrong. Then vanishes from a locked room. Day 2. Flight 19 reports the ocean doesn't look right. Reality looks wrong. 27 men vanish without trace. Day 3. Mary Celeste crew sees something, abandons a perfect ship, cuts their lifeline, chooses death. Day 4. Dyatlov Pass. 9 hikers see lights in the sky, cut through their tent, run into guaranteed death. Every single case has the same signature. Experienced people insist reality is wrong, not their perception, reality itself. Then they abandon safety, make impossible decisions, and disappear or die. That's not 4 random coincidences across a century. That's a pattern. That's a signature. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly what's causing it. January 23rd, 1959. 10 hikers set out from Sverdlovsk, Soviet Union. They're attempting a Category 3 trek, the highest difficulty rating in Soviet mountaineering, reserved for experts only. The group leader is Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, engineering student, veteran winter hiker. This isn't his first difficult expedition. He knows what he's doing. The group includes other engineering students, experienced mountaineers, some with military training, ages 21 to 38, 8 men, 2 women, all experts, all carrying proper equipment. Modern Soviet gear, they know how to use it. They're prepared. On January 28th, one member turns back. Yuri Yudin. He's sick, stomach problems. That decision saves his life. He's the only survivor, which means we have testimony. Someone who can confirm they were prepared. They were experts. They were doing everything right. The remaining 9 continue. Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, Alexander Kolevatov, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Krivonishenko, Yuri Doroshenko, Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, Semyon Zolotaryov. 9 experts about to encounter something impossible. February 1st, 1959. The group reaches Kholat Shachol, Dead Mountain. That's what the name means in the local Mansi language. The indigenous people avoid this place. They say strange things happen here. They've called it Dead Mountain for generations. But these Soviet hikers don't believe in superstition. They believe in science, in preparation, in skill. They're supposed to camp in the forest below, where there's shelter. But they make a decision, camp on the exposed slope instead. Why? Dyatlov's diary doesn't explain. They set up their tent. Evening. Temperature dropping. Wind picking up. But they've camped in worse. They settle in for the night. 9 people in one tent. They eat. Write in journals. Take photographs. Everything normal. Everything routine. And then something happens. We don't know exactly when. Late night or early morning, but something makes all 9 of them panic simultaneously. They don't exit through the entrance. They don't unlace the flaps. They use knives. They slash through the canvas from the inside, multiple cuts, large gashes, Clean cuts, not frantic tearing, methodical, like someone is calmly letting people out, one by one, while something else is happening, and they run, all 9, in whatever they're sleeping in, some wearing only underwear, some in light shirts, no boots, no coats, no hats, no gloves. Everything they need to survive is in the tent, and they leave it. They run down the slope, away from the tent, into the darkness, into the forest, a mile away, in a blizzard, in negative 30-degree weather, with wind chill feeling like negative 40 or 50. At those temperatures, exposed skin freezes in minutes. Your body shuts down immediately. They knew this. Every single one of them knew this, and they ran anyway. February 26, 1959, 3.5 weeks later. The hikers haven't returned. Search party is organized. Military, police, volunteers. They head to the planned route. They find the tent, partially buried in snow, still standing, the framework intact. They approach carefully, expecting bodies inside, but the tent is empty. Their boots are inside, their coats, their food, everything organized, except for the slashes, large cuts in the canvas. From the inside, they look around, find footprints, 9 sets, leading down the slope, some barefoot, some in socks, some in light shoes. They follow the trail, about a mile. At the edge of the forest, under a cedar tree, they find the first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonyshenko and Yuri Doroshenko, both wearing only underwear, frozen solid. And here's what's disturbing. Their hands are burned, shredded. The skin is destroyed. They'd been climbing the tree in bare feet, in negative 30 degrees, climbing until their hands were torn apart. There's evidence of a fire below, broken branches, ash. They tried to build a fire, tried to survive. It wasn't enough. But here's my question for you. What were they trying to climb away from? What was on the ground that made climbing a frozen tree with bare hands seem safer? Drop a comment right now if that detail makes your skin crawl. The search continues. Between the cedar and the tent, they find 3 more bodies. Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, Rustem Slobodin, all partially clothed, frozen. Their positions show they were trying to return to the tent, crawling uphill, but they didn't make it. They collapsed, died on the slope. 5 bodies found, 4 still missing. The search expands. For weeks, nothing. The snow is deep, 13 feet in some places. May 4th, 1959. 3 months after the incident, they find the last 4 bodies in a ravine below the cedar tree. Under 13 feet of snow, Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Solotaryov, Alexander Kolevatov, Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, and these bodies are different, very different. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol has a massive skull fracture. His skull is cracked, like blunt force trauma. But no external wound, no bruise on the outside, just devastating internal damage. Lyudmila Dubinina has severe chest trauma. Multiple ribs broken, both sides. Chest cavity crushed. The medical examiner says the force required equals a high-speed car crash. That level of impact, that kind of force. But no external wounds, no bruises, no marks, just massive internal crushing. And she's missing her tongue, not bitten off, not torn, removed, cleanly, almost surgically, and her eyes, gone, soft tissue extracted. The medical examiner documented it, photographed it, couldn't explain it. This wasn't animal scavenging. Animals don't selectively remove tongues and leave everything else. Animals don't operate on frozen bodies under 13 feet of snow. Something took her tongue. Something took her eyes. Before she died or after? The autopsy couldn't determine. Think about that. Think about what that means. Semyon Zolotaryov also has severe chest trauma, multiple broken ribs, same type of crushing damage as Lyudmila, like immense pressure, but again, no external wounds, nothing on the outside. The four of them were found together, wearing clothing taken from the dead near the cedar tree. They'd stripped clothes from frozen corpses, trying to survive, trying to stay warm. It didn't work. They died anyway, but not just from cold, from trauma, from injuries that can't be easily explained. I need to tell you something that's going to sound impossible, but it's documented in the official autopsy reports. The internal injuries, the crushed ribs, the force required was calculated. 300 to 450 kilograms of force per square centimeter. That's a car traveling at high speed. But here's what makes it impossible. The injuries were symmetrical. Both sides of the chest, equal pressure, equal damage, like something compressed them evenly from all directions at once. That's not impact. That's not a fall. That's not being hit. That's pressure, uniform pressure from all directions, simultaneously. What causes that? I'm going to tell you. But first, you need to understand the footprints leading from the tent. Let me tell you what the search party found. 9 sets of prints in the snow, in a line, orderly, not running chaotically, walking in formation, like they were under control, like they were being led. And here's what's impossible. Some of the prints show bare feet in snow at negative 30 degrees. Your feet should freeze solid in seconds. The tissue should crystallize. You shouldn't be able to walk. But these prints go on for a mile, a full mile. Someone walked a mile barefoot in conditions that should have frozen their feet solid in under a minute. How? Comment below if you can explain that naturally. Because I can't. The Soviet authorities launch an official investigation. They interview witnesses, examine evidence, study the bodies, review diaries and cameras. The investigators are thorough, professional. They document everything, and they can't explain it. The type of force that crushes ribs without external bruising, they've never seen it. The missing soft tissue, no explanation. The footprints walking a mile on bare, frozen feet, impossible. And then there's the radiation. Some clothing on the 4 bodies in the ravine was radioactive. Not highly, but measurably above background. Contaminated. Why? Where did that come from? The investigators measured it, documented it, couldn't explain it. Hit that like button if you think the Soviet government is about to give you a garbage explanation. Because they are. The official theories are pathetic. Let me speed through them so you can see how weak they are. Theory 1. Avalanche. Snow hit the tent. They cut their way out, ran. Some were caught and crushed later. But the tent was still standing, intact. Avalanches destroy everything. And the slope wasn't steep enough. Soviet avalanche experts examined it, said avalanche was impossible there. Wrong angle, wrong snow conditions. This theory doesn't fit. Theory 2. Infrasound. Low-frequency sound waves cause panic. Wind through mountains creates infrasound. Makes people paranoid. They flee without thinking. This explains the panic, the irrational behavior. But infrasound doesn't crush ribs, doesn't fracture skulls, doesn't remove tongues. Sound waves don't cause that kind of physical trauma. This theory explains behavior, but not injuries. Theory 3. Paradoxical undressing. Late-stage hypothermia makes people feel hot. They remove clothes. This explains why some were in underwear. But paradoxical undressing happens when you're already dying. When hypothermia is advanced, not at the start. It doesn't explain why they fled the tent, and it doesn't explain crush injuries. Theory 4, they fought each other. Internal conflict. Some were killed, others died of exposure, but there's no evidence of fighting, no defensive wounds, no conflict in the diaries. They'd been hiking together for over a week with no problems. This makes no sense. Theory 5, animal attack. A bear attacked, they fled, it pursued, but bears hibernate in winter, they weren't active in February, and there are no animal tracks, no claw marks, no bites. Bears don't cause internal trauma without external wounds. They tear, they rip. These bodies had no external damage. Every single theory ignores the core evidence. Crushed ribs with no external wounds, missing tongue and eyes, radiation, orange lights in the sky, 9 experts running to their deaths, footprints walking a mile on frozen feet. Only one theory fits all the evidence. And the Soviet government didn't want to admit it. Military weapons test. Here's what the Soviet government didn't want you to know. And I have documentation for this. 3 other groups of hikers were in the Urals that same night, 50 miles away. All 3 groups reported the same thing. Orange spheres in the sky, bright lights, moving across the mountains, glowing. All 3 groups, independent witnesses, all documented in the investigation files, all buried in classified sections. The Mansi people told investigators that Kholat was dangerous, that strange things happened there. They'd called it Dead Mountain for generations, long before 1959. Why? What had they seen? And the military was testing rockets that month, R-7 missiles from Baikonur, launched trajectories that went directly over the Urals, directly over Kholat. The Soviet government knew this, and they sealed it. Here's what I think really happened. The Soviet military was testing something in that area, something classified, some kind of pressure weapon or blast weapon, something experimental, and the Dyatlov group was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They saw lights, orange glowing spheres, moving in the sky. Maybe they heard something, felt something, a pressure change, a vibration, something wrong, and they realized they needed to get away, not from the tent, from that location, from that spot on the mountain. They cut through the tent because whatever was happening was directional. Coming from above, maybe, or from a specific side. They needed to exit away from it, any direction, fast. So they cut through the walls, got out, ran, as fast as they could. Distance meant survival, or so they thought. But they didn't run far enough, or it followed them, or they were already exposed. The pressure wave hit them, some of them, the ones in the ravine. Massive uniform pressure from all directions, crushing their chests, fracturing skulls, the kind of damage you see from blast waves, from pressure weapons, from things that compress air suddenly. The radiation contaminated their clothing, not much, just enough to measure, just enough to prove something unusual happened. And the cold finished the job. Hypothermia killed the ones who survived the initial blast. They tried to build fire, tried to climb trees to see, tried to help each other, but -30 degrees, mostly naked. They couldn't survive. And the Soviet government found them, realized what happened, realized this was a military accident, weapons test that killed civilians, and they covered it up, classified the case, sealed the files, called it unknown compelling force, because they couldn't admit they'd killed 9 people, couldn't admit there was weapons testing in that area, couldn't risk exposing military capabilities during the Cold War. Let me show you something that connects all 4 cases. Pay attention, because this is the pattern. 1954, man from Taured. The maps are wrong. Reality is wrong. vanishes from locked room. 1945, Flight 19. The ocean doesn't look as it should. Reality looks wrong. 27 men vanish. 1872, Mary Celeste. Crew sees something. Ship seems wrong. Abandoned safety, cuts rope, dies. 1959, Dyatlov Pass. Hikers see orange lights. Tent seems dangerous. Cut through it, run into death. See it? Every case has the exact same signature. 1. Experienced people who know what they're doing. 2. They insist reality is wrong with their environment. 3. They abandon the safe place. 4. They make decisions that seem insane but made sense to them. 5. They disappear or die completely. That's not random. That's not 4 separate coincidences. That's a pattern. That's a signature, whether it's natural phenomenon or military weapons or dimensional overlap. The effect is the same. Reality breaks down. People run. People die. The Dyatlov Pass incident isn't a paranormal mystery. It's a documented tragedy. Government investigation, autopsy reports with measurements, photographs, witness statements, Soviet official records, multiple independent witnesses seeing the same orange lights, and the government concluded unknown compelling force, not avalanche, not animal, not hypothermia, not fighting, unknown compelling force. That's the Soviet Union admitting they can't explain it or won't explain it. 9 people died, 9 experts who knew exactly what running into a blizzard meant, who understood cold better than most humans, and they chose it anyway because staying seemed worse, because whatever they saw or experienced made their tent seem dangerous and the frozen forest seem safe. That's not panic. That's not poor judgment. That's rational response to something we don't understand. Here's what I want you to do, and I'm serious about this. Go look at the actual autopsy photographs. They're available online, declassified. Look at Lyudmila Dubinina's injuries. Look at the missing tongue. Look at the chest trauma. Look at a human body that experienced car crash level force with 0 external bruising. Then come back here and tell me that's natural. Tell me that's explained by falling or fighting or animals, because I've looked at those photos. I've studied them for years. And there's only one explanation that fits all the evidence. Something hit them with massive uniform pressure. Something that doesn't leave external marks. Something that creates symmetrical crushing. Something the Soviet military was testing. Something they covered up for 65 years. You need to subscribe right now and turn on all notifications. Not some, all. Because tomorrow is day 5 of 7. D.B. Cooper, November 1971. And I have evidence nobody talks about. FBI files that were sealed for 45 years. Evidence that proves D.B. Cooper couldn't have survived that jump. The weather was impossible. Freezing rain, 0 visibility, night. He jumped at 10,000 feet into a storm over mountains wearing a business suit. The FBI calculated his chances of survival at 0, but he vanished. Completely. No body, no parachute, no money. For 50 years, nothing. And it follows the exact same pattern as Dyatlov. Reality breaks down. Someone makes an impossible choice that seems rational to them, then vanishes completely. If you're not here for day 5, you miss the connection. You miss how all 7 cases fit together. Subscribe, notifications on right now. Team Natural Causes or Team Military Cover-Up? Pick one right now in the comments. But pick using all the evidence: the crushed ribs with no external bruising, the symmetrical pressure from all directions, the radiation on the clothing, the orange lights witnessed by 3 separate groups, the missing tongue and eyes, The footprints walking a mile on frozen bare feet, the methodical cuts in the tent, all of it. Don't cherry pick. Don't ignore what's inconvenient. Face all the evidence. Then tell me what happened. Be specific. Give me mechanisms. Explain the symmetrical pressure. Explain the radiation. Explain the orange lights. Explain feet walking a mile at negative 30 degrees. If you say avalanche, explain why Soviet experts ruled it out. If you say animals, explain the lack of tracks in external wounds. If you say infighting, explain why they all ran in the same direction. Every natural theory has massive holes. Fill them. Make it make sense. Or admit something else happened, something the Soviet government called unknown compelling force because they had no better words, or because they knew exactly what it was and couldn't admit it. Drop your theory below right now. Dyatlov Pass. What made 9 experts run to their deaths? What created car crash force without external wounds? What removed a tongue and eyes from a body under 13 feet of snow? Use the evidence. Think critically. Convince me I'm wrong, or tell me why you agree. Either way, engage, comment, debate, take a position. Tomorrow, day 5. D.B. Cooper, the man who jumped into impossible conditions and was never found. Same pattern, same impossibility, same unanswered questions. Turn on notifications. See you tomorrow. And if you haven't watched days 1 through 3 yet, go back. Watch them in order. Because the pattern only makes sense when you see all the pieces. This is building to something. Day 7 is going to connect everything. Don't miss it.